Welcome back to Coins Tool video on the most exciting and valuable coins you may already have hiding in your pocket change. Today, we are diving deep into a coin that often gets overlooked, but some versions of it can fetch a shocking amount of money in today's market. That's right, we're talking about the Roosevelt 1996 D1 dime coin, a 10-cent piece that could be worth far more than face value if you know exactly what to look for. Let's uncover the full story behind this dime, its origin, its place in American numismatic history, and what makes certain specimens of the 1996 D Roosevelt dime so incredibly rare and valuable. First, let's talk about the historical background of the Roosevelt dime itself. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, the year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away. This coin was designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. It replaced the Mercury dime and was created to honor FDR's legacy, particularly his association with the March of Dimes campaign, which fought polio, the very disease that Roosevelt himself battled. Fast forward to 1996, a year that marked the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime. Millions of dimes were struck that year, but what makes the 1996 D dime interesting is not just its age, it's the possibility that a rare, high-grade, or error version of this coin could be hiding among everyday change, waiting to be discovered by a lucky collector or keen-eyed enthusiast. The 1996 D Roosevelt dime was minted at the Denver Mint, identified by the small d mint mark on the right side of the torch on the reverse of the coin. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, and in regular circulated condition, most of them are only worth 10 cents. However, some special examples can be worth far more than face value, depending on condition, rarity, and minting errors. Now let's get into the market value and what makes some of these coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. When it comes to the 1996 D Roosevelt dime, the most common coins in circulated condition won't earn you more than a few cents above face value. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and tear and still has its original luster, then you might have something special on your hands. Collectors often look for coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. MS stands for mint state, and an MS 65 coin is considered to be in gem condition. A 1996 D dime graded MS 67 or MS 68 can bring in values ranging from $150 to over $850, depending on demand and overall condition. But here's the real jackpot: a 1996 D Roosevelt dime graded MS 68 full torch, with sharply defined vertical and horizontal bands on the torch, once sold at auction for over $3,500. Yes, a single dime, just 10 cents, sold for thousands of dollars, all because of its near-perfect strike and preservation. But that's not all. There are also error coins from 1996 that make collectors go wild. Some error types include double dies, where elements of the design appear twice slightly offset off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is sliced off struck on the wrong planchet, such as being struck on a blank meant for a foreign coin or a penny. These kinds of errors can skyrocket the coin's value, depending on how dramatic and rare the error is. Some of these coins have sold for $500 to $2,000 depending on the type and grade of the error. It's proof that one small mistake at the US Mint can turn an ordinary coin into a rare and valuable collectible. And let's not forget about the special 1996 W Roosevelt dime, which was struck at the West Point Mint and released only in special collector's sets to mark the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime. These coins do not have a Denver or Philadelphia mint mark, but instead a W mint mark, and are considered much more collectible. While the 1996 W was not intended for circulation, people sometimes mistakenly believe a 1996 D is the same. It's not, but the 1996 D can still be valuable in the right condition. Now let's talk about how you can tell if your 1996 D Roosevelt dime is worth money. First, take a close look at the coin's condition. Is there any noticeable wear? Is the strike strong and clear? Next, check the mint mark. Make sure it's a clear D and not a repunched or oddly shaped mint mark. That could be a sign of a mint error. If you see strong details in the torch, both vertical and horizontal lines, then you may have a full bands or full torch variety, which is more desirable to collectors. If the coin looks unusual, or like it was struck off-center or has a doubling effect, then you may be looking at a valuable error coin. If you believe your coin may be worth more than face value, consider sending it to a grading service for evaluation. The cost of grading is often justified when you have a coin that could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Let's break down some recent auction sales to give you an idea of how the 1996 D dime performs in the current market. A 1996 D dime in MS 67 condition sold for around $120. Another example graded MS 68 with full torch designation sold $4.875. A rare error version, off-center strike, sold $4.900, and the highest recorded sale for a flawless MS 68 full torch coin is over $3,500. So what's the current market value for your 1996 D Roosevelt dime? In regular circulated condition, about 10 to 15 cents. In mint state with a grade of MS 65 to MS 67, it could be worth $50 to $150. And if you have an MS 68 full torch version, or a rare error coin, it could be worth $500 to over $3,000, maybe even more if the right collector comes along. To sum it all up, the 1996 D Roosevelt dime might look like just another common coin in your change, but don't be fooled. Under the right circumstances, it could be worth a fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, never underestimate the power of a simple coin search. That ordinary dime could be your golden ticket. So, check your change, look through your old coin jars, and examine every 1996 D dime you come across. You never know, you just might be holding onto a small piece of American coin history that's worth thousands of dollars. We explore the most valuable coins in American history. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1966 Roosevelt one-dime coin. Yes, that small silver-colored coin in your change could be worth far more than 10 cents. In fact, some rare versions of the 1966 Roosevelt dime have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, and one unique coin in pristine condition with special characteristics has been valued at over $95,000 in the collector market. So stay with us until the end, because this video could help you uncover a small fortune hiding in your pocket, coin jar, or inherited collection. Let's begin with the history of the Roosevelt dime. The dime, which is a 10-cent coin, was first introduced in 1796, but the Roosevelt dime specifically began in 1946. It was created to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who led America through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Roosevelt was also a strong supporter of the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, the disease he himself struggled with. After his death in 1945, the United States honored his legacy by placing his profile on the dime starting in 1946. Now, fast forward to the year 1966. At that time, America was going through major changes in its coinage. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped making silver dimes due to rising silver prices and a coin shortage. Before 1965, dimes were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But beginning in 1965, dimes were made with a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of copper nickel. That means the 1966 Roosevelt dime was part of the second year of these new clad coins. Even though it wasn't made of silver, the 1966 dime has become a favorite among collectors for several reasons. First, in 1966, the U.S. Mint did not use mint marks. Normally, coins are marked with a small letter to show whether they were made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But due to coin hoarding and the coin shortage of the mid-1960s, mint marks were removed from all U.S. coins from 1965 to 1967. That means every 1966 dime you find will appear to be from Philadelphia, even if it was made elsewhere. This historical detail adds a layer of mystery and uniqueness to the 1966 dime. Another important factor that gives the 1966 dime value is condition and strike quality. Most coins from that era were heavily circulated. But some were preserved in original mint sets or discovered in nearly perfect condition. One example of a 1966 Roosevelt dime graded MS-68 full bands by PCGS, which stands for Mint State 68 with full bands details on the torch, sold for an unbelievable $95,000 in a public auction. That coin was nearly flawless with crisp details and luster, making it a gem in the eyes of serious collectors. So what does full bands mean and why is it so important? On the reverse side of the Roosevelt dime is a torch symbolizing liberty. The torch is flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. The bands around the torch should be fully visible and separated in high-quality strikes. If a dime has fully struck, well-defined horizontal bands, it receives the full bands designation. This is very rare for 1966 dimes because of the worn dies and lower quality controls at the time. So if you have a dime with strong band detail, that could boost its value significantly. Let's break down the current market value of the 1966 Roosevelt dime. In circulated condition, this coin is worth its face value, 10 cents. But in uncirculated grades, especially Mint State 65 and above, its value jumps. A 1966 Roosevelt dime graded MS-65 might sell for $5 to $10, while MS-66 examples can fetch up to $50. MS-67 dimes regularly sell for over $150, and rare MS-68 dimes can sell for over $1,000 to $2,000. Add the full bands designation to those high grades, and you're talking about thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors and dealers are always on the lookout for high-grade examples of the 1966 Roosevelt dime with full bands because they're not only beautiful but also extremely scarce. Only a tiny fraction of these coins survive in such condition, and those that do are often tucked away in private collections or sold at elite auctions. You might be wondering how to find out if your 1966 dime is valuable. First, examine the coin under a bright light and a magnifier. Look for sharp details on the torch. Are the horizontal bands clearly separated? Is the coin free from scratches, nicks, or wear? If it looks pristine, you might have something special. The next step is to send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins, which can increase their value and make them easier to sell at auction or to collectors. You should also check if the coin has any minting errors. Error coins are always in demand. Some examples to look for in the 1966 Roosevelt dime include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. One such error, where a 1966 dime was struck on a copper penny planchet, sold for over $12,000 because of its rarity and eye appeal. Error coins add even more value to an already collectible year like 1966. Now let's talk about some real-world auction prices and records. A 1966 dime graded MS-68 full bands by PCGS holds the record price of $95,000. Another 1966 dime in MS-67 plus full bands condition sold for over $4,000. These coins were preserved in exceptional condition for decades and passed through expert hands before reaching the auction block. If you find a 1966 dime that looks extra sharp, don't spend it. It might be worth a fortune. Store it safely, get it professionally graded, and you could have one of the most valuable clad Roosevelt dimes ever made. It's also a reminder that not all valuable coins are old or made of silver. Even modern-looking coins from your spare change can carry historical importance and high market value. So whether you're a beginner just checking your pocket change or a long-time collector with albums and folders, don't overlook the 1966 Roosevelt dime. It's a coin with history, mystery, and value, and just might be hiding in plain sight. We have an exciting and very informative video for all the coin collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people out there who just love rare finds. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating story, hidden details, and high value of the 1987 P. Roosevelt one-dime coin from the United States of America. This is not just a simple 10-cent piece you ignore in your change. Some of these dimes can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on their condition, rarity, and minting errors. So stick around because you may be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Let's start with the historical background. The Roosevelt dime has been a part of American coinage since 1946. It was first introduced to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt was also a major advocate for finding a cure for polio, and the dime became a symbol of the March of Dimes campaign. That's why his profile was chosen for this coin. Since 1946, the Roosevelt dime has featured his left-facing portrait on the obverse side, and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength on the reverse side. Now fast forward to the year 1987. The Roosevelt dime minted in Philadelphia that year is identified by the small P mint mark just above the date. Over 839 million dimes were produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 1987, making it a common coin in circulation. But here's where it gets interesting. While most of these dimes are only worth face value, there are specific ones that stand out due to their condition or errors during the minting process that make them extremely valuable to collectors. One of the biggest things that drives up the value of a coin is its grade. Coins that are graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are considered mint state, showing no wear and having sharp, clean details. A 1987 P. Roosevelt dime in MS 67 condition has sold for over $1,000 at auction. And there are very few known at that level, which makes them rare and desirable, but that's not all. The true excitement comes with minting errors. Error coins are those that were mistakenly struck or produced with irregularities that were never intended to be released. These include off-center strikes, double dies, missing clad layers, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. These types of errors make the coin extremely unique, sometimes even one of a kind, and that skyrockets their value. One of the most well-known errors for the 1987 P. Roosevelt dime is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing or misaligned. A 1987 P dime that is about 50% off-center with a strong visible date and mint mark can sell for anywhere between $100 to $500 depending on how extreme and clean the error is. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Another highly valuable error is the clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a mistake during the blank cutting process. This type of dime can fetch up to $150 or more. There have even been reports of dimes with missing clad layers, showing the inner copper core on either the obverse or reverse side. These are highly collectible and can bring in hundreds of dollars at auction, and let's not forget about the double die error. While it's rare for the 1987 P dime, if you ever come across a coin with doubled features on Roosevelt's face, lettering, or the torch design, you could have something very valuable in your hands. Some double die dimes have sold for over $1,000, and their value depends on how dramatic and visible the doubling is. Now let's talk about the current market value. As of today, regular circulated 1987 P. Roosevelt dimes are worth face value, 10 cents. But when you enter the world of coin collecting, condition and uniqueness matter the most. A coin graded MS 65 is usually worth around $5 to $10. But as the grade increases, the value jumps significantly. In MS 67, the 1987 P dime can bring up to $250. In MS 68 condition, which is extremely rare, the coin could be worth well over $1,500 or more depending on demand and auction results. Now imagine combining high grade with a minting error. That's the golden ticket. A high-grade 1987 P dime with an off-center strike or double die can reach market values of $2,000 or even more. In fact, coin auctions in recent years have seen record-breaking prices for common coins with rare errors or perfect conditions. Collectors are willing to pay big money to add those rare gems to their collection, and don't overlook proof-like surfaces. If your 1987 P dime has unusually reflective fields, clean devices, and a strong strike, it might show proof-like characteristics even though it was not struck as a proof coin. That also adds to the value, especially when certified by grading services. So how can you find these valuable coins? Check your change, look through old coin jars, and pay attention to every dime you come across. If you find a 1987 P dime, inspect it closely. Look at the date, the mint mark, the edges, and both sides for anything unusual or out of the ordinary. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. If you suspect you have something valuable, consider sending it to a professional grading service for authentication. To wrap things up, the 1987 P Roosevelt dime may look like just a 10-cent coin, but in the world of coin collectors, it can be worth a fortune. From high grades to rare errors, the value can range from a few dollars to several $1,000s. It's a perfect example of how everyday coins can turn into treasure with the right knowledge and a little bit of luck. So don't underestimate the power of pocket change. Check your dimes today. Who knows? You might just be holding a $1,500 coin or more. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more coin secrets and money-making tips. We're diving into the story of one of the smallest coins in your pocket but one that could hold a massive hidden fortune. That's right, we're talking about the Roosevelt 2004 P1 dime coin. It may look ordinary at first glance, but there are versions of this tiny coin that could be worth thousands of dollars, maybe even more depending on condition, rarity, and market demand. So don't go anywhere because by the end of this video, you might be checking your coin jar, your change drawer, or even your wallet for this rare dime worth a lot of big money. Let's start with the history behind the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, right after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was a key figure in American history and was deeply respected for his leadership through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt also supported the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, which made the dime a symbolic and meaningful tribute to his legacy. The 2004 P Roosevelt dime was minted in Philadelphia. That year, hundreds of millions of dimes were struck. But while most of them are still just worth 10 cents, a few rare errors and exceptional condition coins have skyrocketed in value on the collector's market. These are the hidden gems we're about to explore. First, let's talk about what makes a 2004 P Roosevelt dime valuable. The first and most important factor is condition. Coins that are in brilliant uncirculated condition or have been graded as MS 65, MS 67, or even higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins with perfect strike, clean surfaces, and full details, especially those with full torch or full bands on the reverse, which show strong horizontal lines on the torch's bands. Now here's where things get really interesting. There are also a few known error coins from the 2004 P Roosevelt dime that make this small coin incredibly rare and valuable. One of the most notable errors is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, and part of the design ends up missing or shifted. Some of these off-center dimes have sold for over $500 depending on how dramatic the error is and how much of the design is visible. Another high-dollar variety is the double die error. A double die coin happens when the die itself shifts slightly between strikes, creating a doubling of the design elements. On the 2004 P dime, doubling may appear in areas like the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. These types of errors are rare and highly sought after by serious collectors. You should also look out for die cracks, cuds, and missing clad layer errors. These kinds of minting mistakes can drive up the coin's value tremendously. A dime missing part of its outer layer and showing the copper core underneath is a spectacular error and could be worth hundreds or more depending on its uniqueness and condition. Now let's talk about market value. What's the 2004 P Roosevelt dime really worth today? Well, in circulated condition, most 2004 P dimes are still worth their face value, just 10 cents. But here's the twist. In mint state condition, this coin can sell for anywhere between $20 to $100, depending on how well preserved it is. If it's a top-grade coin certified MS 67 or higher, it can reach up to $300 or more. One of the finest known examples graded MS 68 with full torch details sold for a record-breaking $1,200 at a major coin auction. And if you have an error coin, such as a major off-center strike or double die, you could be looking at values in the $1,000 to $2,000 range or even higher depending on demand, but it doesn't stop there. Some extremely rare examples with both high-grade and dramatic errors have crossed the auction block for $5,000 or more. Just imagine finding one of those in your change. What makes these coins so valuable is a combination of rarity, eye appeal, and collector demand. There are passionate collectors out there who specialize in Roosevelt dimes, and they're always on the lookout for the finest examples and the rarest errors. This is why it pays to check every coin carefully. You never know what you might be holding. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 2004 P dime? First, examine it under good lighting with a magnifying glass. Check for strong details, sharp edges, no signs of wear, and especially any unusual features like doubling or off-center strikes. If you think you've got something special, your next step is to send it to a coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. A professional grade can dramatically increase your coin's market value and buyer trust. It's also a good idea to join online coin forums or Facebook collector groups where you can post photos and get opinions from other collectors. Many big finds have started with someone just asking a question about a coin they found in their pocket change. In conclusion, the 2004 P Roosevelt dime might seem like just another coin, but if you know what to look for, it could turn out to be a valuable treasure. With some rare examples selling for thousands of dollars, it proves once again that coin collecting is not only a fun hobby, it can also be a profitable one. So check your pockets, search those coin rolls, and never underestimate the power of a small dime. Your next great find might be waiting just around the corner. We uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change and dive deep into the world of valuable coins that could make you a fortune. Today's spotlight is on an often overlooked gem, the 2014 D Roosevelt dime. Yes, you heard that right. A modern 10-cent coin minted in 2014 at the Denver Mint could potentially be worth far more than its face value. So stay tuned as we explore its fascinating history, rare errors, and how some of these dimes have reached an unbelievable current market value. Let's get started with a quick background on the Roosevelt dime series. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, just months after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The United States wanted to honor him not only as a president who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II but also as a champion in the fight against polio. The dime was the perfect denomination for this tribute because Roosevelt had supported the March of Dimes, a campaign that raised funds to battle polio across America. Designed by John R. Sinek, the Roosevelt dime replaced the winged Liberty Head or Mercury dime, and the design has largely remained unchanged for decades. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, while the reverse displays a torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Now let's fast forward to the year 2014. That year, the Denver Mint struck more than 1.2 billion Roosevelt dimes bearing the D Mint mark. Most of these coins entered circulation and remain common today. But here's where things get interesting. Some of these 2014 D dimes have mysterious qualities, unique errors, and high-grade finishes that have pushed their values way beyond 10 cents, even into the thousands of dollars. Let's talk about those varieties and what makes some 2014 D Roosevelt dimes worth so much money. First, you need to understand that not all coins leave the mint perfectly. Sometimes during the minting process, mistakes occur. These are known as error coins, and collectors are always on the hunt for them. These errors can include things like off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, broad strikes, missing clad layers, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. One known valuable variety is the double die reverse or DDR. In some rare 2014 D dimes, the reverse details such as the torch, olive leaves, or the lettering United States of America and one dime appear to be doubled when viewed under magnification. This error is caused during the hubbing process, and collectors will pay a premium for such a variety, especially if it's in mint state condition. Another high-value error that has surfaced is the missing clad layer dime. A Roosevelt dime missing its outer clad layer appears coppery in color, much like a penny, and has a significantly different weight. Some of these have sold at auction for hundreds or even thousands depending on condition, and I appeal. Let's not forget the off-center strike error. These are visually dramatic and highly collectible. A dime that was struck off-center by even 15 to 50% can demand prices ranging from $50 to $500, and sometimes more if the date is still visible. Another key factor in value is the coin's grade, or condition. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A 2014 D. Roosevelt dime in regular circulation might only be worth 10 cents, but one that has been graded MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The key is luster, strike quality, and lack of marks. In fact, one of the highest auction records for a 2014 D. Roosevelt dime graded MS-68 full bands reached over $1,000, proving that modern coins in superb condition are highly collectible. But that's not all. Some coins were struck with proof-like finishes by mistake at the Denver Mint. These coins have a mirror-like surface and sharp detail that make them visually stunning. When these types of finishes appear on circulation strike coins, they are known as specimen or PL, proof-like, coins. If you come across a 2014 D. Roosevelt dime with unusually high shine and reflective surfaces, it could be a hidden treasure worth grading, and let's not ignore the impact of coin grading companies. Getting your coin certified by PCGS or NGC can increase its value tremendously. A 2014 D dime that would sell for $20 raw might command $500 or more once encapsulated and certified as a high-grade specimen or an error coin. Certification also guarantees authenticity, which boosts buyer confidence and increases the final sale price. You might be wondering, how do you know if your 2014 D. Roosevelt dime is valuable? Here's what to look for. Check for any visible errors like doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual coloring. Use a digital scale to weigh the coin. A missing clad layer dime will weigh less than the standard 2.27 grams. Look for sharp, full bands on the torch on the reverse. Coins with full bands designation are more valuable. Check surfaces for strong luster and lack of scratches. Higher grades mean higher values. Use a jeweler's loupe or microscope to inspect fine details on both sides. If you think you have something special, get it professionally graded. Let's talk numbers now. The regular 2014 D dime in circulated condition is worth face value, 10 cents. A coin in uncirculated mint state condition might fetch anywhere from $1 to $5. But rare error coins and high-grade examples can jump to $100, $500, $1,000, or even more. As of now, the top known example of a 2014 D. Roosevelt dime with an exceptional error or MS-68 plus grade is estimated to be worth up to $4,000, and some dealers list ultra-rare varieties at even higher premiums. That's why it pays to look closely at every coin you come across. The next time you get change from a store, take a minute to check your dimes. That 2014 D. Roosevelt dime might just be hiding in plain sight, waiting to reward you with a small fortune. These coins are out there. You don't need to be a millionaire to find one, you just need a sharp eye, a little patience, and the knowledge you've just learned from this video. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about what's in your pocket, remember, every coin has a story, and some are worth more than their weight in gold. Make sure to inspect your 2014 D dimes and keep an eye out for those valuable errors and high grades. You could be holding on to a dime that's worth thousands of dollars. If you found this video helpful and you love learning about valuable coins, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing coin content, and ring the bell so you never miss a future treasure hunt. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare dime or if you're going to start checking your change after watching this video. We explore the world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket change. In today's exciting video, we are diving deep into the fascinating history, design, and the potentially high value of the Roosevelt 2017 P1 dime coin from the United States of America. You might be surprised to learn that this small 10-cent piece could be worth a fortune if you happen to find the right one. Let's begin with a little history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was a beloved leader who led America through the Great Depression and World War II. The dime was chosen to honor him not only for his leadership but also for his role in founding the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, a disease he himself battled throughout his life. Since 1946, the Roosevelt dime has remained in continuous production, but over the years, certain years and mint marks have become extremely rare, collectible, and valuable, and 2017 is one of the most interesting years. The 2017 P. Roosevelt dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. What makes the 2017 coin so historically significant is that it marks a special milestone, the very first time in history that the Philadelphia Mint placed a P mint mark on the one-dime coin. That's right, before 2017, dimes minted in Philadelphia never carried a mint mark. But in celebration of the U.S. Mint's 225th anniversary, they decided to place the letter P on the Roosevelt dime for the very first time. This small change created a new variety and made the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime instantly collectible. Although hundreds of millions were produced, more than 1.4 billion to be exact, not all of them are created equal. Some of these coins have unique characteristics, mint errors, and varieties that have caused their values to skyrocket in the collector market. Now, let's talk about the design. On the obverse or front of the coin, we see the profile portrait of President Roosevelt facing left. The word "Liberty" is inscribed on the left, "In God We Trust" is below the chin, and the year 2017 appears at the bottom right. And of course, this coin features the historic P mint mark, making it highly sought after by collectors. On the reverse side, we see a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength and independence. The words "United States of America," "E pluribus unum," and "one dime" are all carefully inscribed. Let's move on to the exciting part: coin value and the current market. While common circulated examples of the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime may only be worth face value, 10 cents, there are many rare specimens that have sold for astonishing prices. High-grade uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS-67, MS-68, and higher, have been sold for between $50 and $300. But wait, that's just the beginning. There are special varieties and mint errors that have made headlines in the numismatic world. Let's talk about a few of those. Double die errors on the 2017 P dime can be extremely valuable. These are coins where parts of the design have been accidentally stamped twice by the mint, resulting in a visible doubling effect, often seen on the lettering or date. If you find a strong double die, especially on the obverse side where the word "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" shows doubling, your coin could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Off-center strikes are another rare and valuable error. These occur when the coin blank is not properly centered under the press, causing part of the design to be missing. A 2017 P dime with a 10 to 30% off-center strike can be worth $150 to $400, depending on condition. Clipped planchet errors, where a piece of the coin appears to be missing or cut off, are also extremely collectible. These errors can fetch values between $100 to $300 based on severity and appeal. One of the rarest varieties is the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime struck on the wrong planchet. This means the dime design was accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin, such as a penny or a foreign coin. One example sold at auction for over $1,200. And then we have the king of them all, the top-graded 2017 P. Roosevelt dime graded by PCGS as MS-68 FB. FB stands for full bands, a grading designation given to coins where the horizontal bands on the torch are fully separated and clear, which is very hard to achieve. One of these top-grade coins sold for an incredible $3,250 at auction. That's right, a single 10-cent coin sold for over $3,000. Now that's a dime worth finding. Let's talk about the current collector demand and market trends. The 2017 P. Roosevelt dime has been growing in popularity, especially among modern coin collectors. With more people becoming interested in numismatics and the continued growth of online auctions, prices for rare varieties and error coins are steadily increasing. Some coin grading companies are even reporting that 2017 P dimes are being submitted more frequently than other years due to this rising interest. So what should you look for if you want to check your own coins at home? First, examine your 2017 dimes with a magnifying glass or coin loupe. Look for strong details, especially on the torch on the reverse. Check for the full bands. Look for any signs of doubling in the lettering or date. Inspect the edges of the coin for clips or irregularities. And always check for any unusual colors, weight differences, or textures. These could signal a rare planchet error. If you think you found something valuable, consider having it professionally graded by NGC or PCGS. A graded coin will have a verified condition and authentication, which can greatly increase its value when selling at auction or to collectors. In conclusion, the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how a small, everyday coin can become a numismatic treasure. Whether it's the historical significance of the first Philadelphia mint mark, the search for high-grade examples, or the thrill of finding a rare mint error, this dime has captured the attention of collectors across the country. And with top specimens selling for thousands of dollars, you never know, you could be holding a hidden gem in your pocket change right now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chance to learn about rare coins that are worth a fortune. Drop a comment below if you've ever come across a 2017 P dime or any other valuable coin. Until next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and good luck finding that next $1 million coin.